because we're anticipating a lot of interaction and feedback. So I'm just going to jump right in. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day, making some really good, meaningful connections, and we hope you continue that with our session today. My name is Zarida Brokenborough. I am a major gifts officer for Covenant House, New Jersey. We have 9 locations, a few near here, 2 in Atlantic City, and 1 in Asbury Park. We help survivors of human trafficking of all ages and homeless young people 18 to 21. We help them with resiliency, life skills, and to move toward transforming their lives and moving toward independence. I have the privilege of doing that. Today, I am the moderator on this wonderful panel, and I'm going to let each lady introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Maria.
I don't know why I always got to go first. I did originally pick down there, but Maria Diaz. I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging for New Jersey Natural Gas, New Jersey Resources, a small utility or energy company in the state of New Jersey. I've been with the organization 30 years. And I can't wait to share my career, steps with all of you.
Hi. Hello, am I on? You hear me? Okay.
You're on,
awesome.
you're on.
I didn't want to use my cheerleader voice since they gave me a mic. Hi, I am Pamela Major. Pam Major is fine. I am a lifestyle services company, Melia Bloom. We serve people by helping them to build themselves up, know what their place is, know who they are, be confident in it, and then be able to go out into the world and do great things. And we'll talk more. You'll hear more because we all talk a lot. So we enjoy being a panel together because we like to talk.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here, and it's so funny that we're all just meeting each other in person for the first time. The last time we saw each other, we were all in little boxes on a screen. So really terrific to meet everybody and to be here on this panel. My name is Deb Visconi. I am the president and CEO of Bergen Newbridge Medical Center. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in the state of New Jersey. We are located in Paramus, which is in Bergen County. We are a 1,070-bed hospital. We sit under a 1 million square foot roof, and we sit on 62 acres of Bergen County property. We are a publicly owned, privately managed safety net facility. And it's really a privilege. I've been in healthcare my entire life, really, and certainly a mentor for many, many years, and really, really excited to share our insights and stories with all of you today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. So the title of our session is How to Create a Women's Mentorship Program. But I'm going to add something in there, how to create your own women's mentorship program. That's the goal for today. So before we jump in, I want to ask, how many of you have a great mentorship relationship? Okay. Our goal here today is to share some wisdom, some insights, some nuggets to help you create your own that's fantastic and amazing and fulfilling for you as well as the mentor. So we want to start by kind of setting the baseline. What is mentorship? So, Deb, would you start us off? What is mentorship?
I define mentorship as a relationship. You know, mentorship comes in many different forms, and it takes many different ways of developing and creating. But the honest truth is that mentorship is a relationship, and it becomes a lifelong relationship. And, mentorships have, informal, formal, friends, colleagues, family members, all can be part of your mentorship relationships. But really what mentorship is a relationship between individuals that takes beyond just a form of a formal relationship. It's more of a uniqueness to a mentorship relationship. So that's what how I would define mentorship.
That's great. Do you want to add something to that, Deb and Maria?
Well, I'm going to, anybody read the Odyssey or have to read part of the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, when they were in school? That is actually the origination of the term mentor. Mentor was a character that was Telemachus's, and Telemachus was the son of Odysseus, for those of us who, haven't been up on their Greek poetry in the last several years. So mentor was defined as a trusted advisor and confidant. And so Anybody meet somebody, immediately give them even 50% of their trust, right? Mentorship takes a little bit of time, right? The first thing is we got to vibe, right? We have to, when we meet each other, we have to vibe. But I think the importance of trust and confidentiality and wisdom, that's the start of being a mentor. And then other things can come from there as we talk about the mentee, which we'll get into a little bit later.
So Pam, you and Deb shared something, right? Trust, right? But one thing mentorship is not is you assuming that we're going to do the work for you. One thing that mentorship is not is a cohesive relationship. So I will tell you that some of the best mentors, okay, are the ones you select, the ones that you build up the courage to ask, the ones that you seek out because you know that they will be of value to you. But what it is not is your direct boss. I thought it was really important to share that with all of you, that the person you directly report to, right, has a different stake in the game than you building up the courage to ask someone. And the harder it is for you to finally build up that courage, I promise you that will be your everlasting relationship, the best relationship you've ever had.
Yes, so that trust is really important. And when we talked about creating your own mentorship program, it's your choice. It's your tool to use. It's your tool to seek out, to develop. So how do you choose a mentor? That's the next question I think that becomes very important. How do you choose the mentor? And looking at that, what's the role of mentor and mentee within that? So I always thought you got appointed a mentor. If you were in a big company, I started in Prudential and someone said, oh, I see you're a first generation graduate of college. You probably haven't had anybody in your family that worked in corporate America. We're going to give you a mentor. And I was blessed to have some really good ones, but that's not always the case. And sometimes your culture is, just as Maria says, your boss thinks, I'm your mentor. So how do you choose a mentor outside of your boss relationship? Go ahead.
Oh, I could talk, y'all, okay? I don't even think 45 minutes is going to be enough. I can honestly say that one of the things I did to select a mentor was observed the role they played in the organization. Meaning, right, I've always had I've had a couple of leadership roles, and I observed, the way that an executive or a people leader interacts with their direct reports. I observed, if I'm in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, right? If you are investing in your employees, you're going to show up to some of the mental health sessions we offer, to some of the cultural events we offer, right? To me, right, that means you're vested in the organization and its employees. But observing how they also interact in the communities, those are all values that I looked for in a mentor. And I will tell you that one of the mentors that I selected very later on in my life, is extremely busy, and she is actually a COO in our organization. And I specifically picked her because I watched her for I'm not talking stalking y'all, okay? I'm just saying, watched her with our employees and so on and so forth for 6 months before I built up the courage to ask her to be my mentor. And it was the best thing I ever did. So that's really a critical piece, again, for me. But you need to define what you're looking for in a mentor. How would you select one? Is it someone that you think likes the same things you like? It really isn't. It could be you, or you could be completely different careers. But that mentor is going to be the one that helps you overcome hurdles and obstacles that might get in your career, in your way.
That's great. And Deb, you had some insight in terms of what's not a mentor in terms of coaching and sponsorship.
Yeah, so I do want to just comment on the question you just asked about how do you pick a mentor. I think some of the things that I've seen that were really successful in terms of mentorship relationships are people identifying individuals that have opposite skill sets or experiences. I remember long ago in one of my career stops, a nurse came to me and said, I would love for you to be my mentor. And I said, well, I don't know anything about, I'm not a nurse, I'm a lab tech, like I don't know how to help you. She goes, oh, I know all about nursing. I want to learn about business plans and, different types of skill sets to help me continue to grow my career. So it's some people select it based on opposite skill sets, experiences. So I think, again, back to mentorship is really a unique relationship, and it is not one size fits all, and it is really what the topic is today. How do you build your own? And to your other question about what mentorship is not, so mentorship is not, helping somebody find a job, although sometimes that does happen, but that's more like a sponsor. Or, there's other relationships at the work that are like coaches. Sometimes I view myself as a coach to the people that report to me or others in the organization, that you kind of coach them along in specific things that are going on. Sponsorship is helping someone get a job, apply for things, coaching them that way. But mentorship really isn't about that. To me, mentorship is helping an individual unleash their best selves and what's inside them. That's
kind of capitalizing on someone's strengths and weaknesses and seeing that in them. A good mentor that I had would see certain things that I didn't value or didn't even see within myself and point them out to me. Like, you're really good at speaking, you're really good at encouraging people. Let's find roles that you can do more of that, where you're not just looking at numbers and spreadsheets. That's a good mentor relationship that kind of sees something that you're doing that you may not realize could be a bigger asset to yourself and the organization.
I want to add, and we all talk, so we like that. We could be up here for a while, but we're not. Ask questions. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? As you said, someone that doesn't have a skill set that you want and you see they have. That's why observation is part of this, right? The observation also helps build up the trust, but do they have something that you want? Because if they don't have something that you want, why would you want them to mentor you, right? So I'm sorry, go ahead, go right ahead.
You hit on some good things in terms of the observations and looking at what they have and then structuring what you want out of a mentoring relationship. You have 11 mentees, you've mentored people. Deb, you kind of setting the tone in terms of what that looks like, because the biggest challenge, and I guess we can kind of all say it, it's the rejection when someone says no. How do you recover from that? You've been observing them, you've been watching them, and then they say no. So how do we structure this choosing a mentor to make it something that someone can do, someone can actually execute when we ask them, can you be my mentor?
I want to jump in and say, if you're going to ask someone to be your mentor, you have to be vulnerable. There's a young lady who asked me to mentor her, and I said, I don't take on mentees quickly, but here's an assignment. She didn't do the assignment. Now, I'm still supportive of her. I'm still in conversation with her. She doesn't understand that it took a long time and a lot of face plants to get the wisdom that I have. So I'm not going to just give that to someone who's unwilling to do a small thing, like read a book. And so that's part of what we have to deal with. Are you willing to put yourself in a vulnerable place? Because why should I take all of this fresh, clean water that I have from my life and pour it into yours, and you won't do the simplest of things that I ask?
I love that you said that, because you asked us, right? A mentee, right? As a mentee, you do have to come prepared. What is it that you want? Where is it that you wish to be? Tell us your career trajectory. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? And please don't judge me, but the other day I virtually hung up on one of my mentees because they could not get it together. But I've been his mentor for, oh my goodness, like I want to say 11 years. And you have to get out of your own head. And that was, what was going on in the conversation we were having. But all of my mentees know I give them homework. Like, what is it that you want out of this? I'm telling you, I'm the busiest. It's like, on the day after Thanksgiving, how all the stores open up at like 4:00 in the morning. That's when I'm the busiest, literally a week after performance management. Okay. But I coach every single mentor that I have to be prepared. You don't wait until the end of the year, for example, right, to complete your performance management. So again, getting back to that mentee, you have to come prepared. What is it that you want? Where is it that you want to be? Because guess what I get to do as your mentor? I get to guide you. I get to help you get there. I get to talk about you when you're not in the room. I get to mention the great work you're doing when we're doing succession planning. That's what you want. That's why, to what Pam shared with us, it is a long-term relationship. But by God, is it worth it? It is worth the work.
Absolutely. Deb, you had mentioned the importance of relationships early on. We were chatting too, in terms of how does that play into choosing a mentor?
Yeah, I think that's vital because, I just think back to this nurse that came to me that so many years ago, and she was so nervous. She called a special meeting with me to have to spend time with me to make that request for me to be her mentor. But she knew me. She knew from working with me in the organization, and she knew that she felt that level of comfort. Although she was nervous, she was afraid I'd say no, right? The fear of somebody saying no to you. But she felt that comfort to come and talk and to tell me why she thought it was important that I helped her, guide her. So I think relationships, knowing people, understanding their limitations. But, to your point, Maria, mentorship is hard work. And it's lifelong work. I talk to people that I mentored way back when when I was early in my career. Still, I connect with them, and they call me at times for advice and for guidance. And it's a really incredible relationship, but both sides have to really invest in it and make that commitment. If you have a formal mentorship program, I've done informal and formal, and there's a year-long mentorship program that I participated in recently. I think the ACHE. And they have it very structured. They have ACHE calls these meetings every few months, and there's projects you have to do, and there's forms you have to fill out, and there's contracts that you have to sign. And at the end of it, there's a graduation and a presentation. But that's great. But what happens after is even more important. And the people that I've mentored through that formal program have remained in connection with me, constantly looking for guidance and connectivity. So it really is a lifelong relationship both sides are committed to. And what I always tell people that I mentor is, it's not just about you learning, but I take something back every time I mentor someone. It really is a give and take on both individuals to make it really a successful relationship.
Absolutely. It's definitely rewarding on both sides. And you want to make it rewarding for the person that you're asking to be a mentor. I think it's when you start out with a clear vision or a structure of what you're looking for, even if you can't define, exactly what it is, but that there's some help that you need in a certain area, and let that person kind of talk and brainstorm with you what that help could look like. But at least you've come to them with something, as opposed to your child that says, I need help, and you're trying to help them with their homework, and you're like, what's the problem? I don't know. And they've got to start digging and digging and digging. When you come with a little bit to the table to say, this is what I'm looking for help with, they can now make the decision whether they have that expertise or they have that skill set that you're looking for that they can share with you, and they can teach you in it. Some people are not great teachers and they know it. They just know how to do it. Or they have life constraints that they may not be able to mentor at that season of their life, and they can tell you what would work best. Maybe it's not every month, maybe it's once a quarter, maybe it's once a year, but you're coming prepared with your questions or what you need out of that mentorship relationship. So I think how you structure your mentorship program And how you lay it out from the beginning sets you up for success. And it also sets you up for eliminating a lot of the no's because you might structure it a certain way. For example, a lot of your senior level executives, guess how old they are? They're probably in their mid 50s or 60s. So guess what? They've got kids in college and they've got aging parents. If you come to them with a project and it looks like it's a project, they're probably going to say no. But if you structure it in a certain way that it looks like, oh, I can help you. We're going to meet during my lunch hour, or we'll talk about certain things and I'll give you a list of books, or I'll give you a list of programs, or whatever it is. I can give you some tips and we'll come and talk about that, or you'll come with me with your questions. That makes that 30 minutes of their day very meaningful and fruitful, and they feel good about it too, as opposed to let's just meet, let's just have a meal, let's just talk and brainstorm and see what comes of it. But if somebody is squeezed for time because they've got college kids and aging parents, that 30 minutes that they're giving to you is priceless. And you want to show them that you value that time. So you're going to do the homework or do whatever it is to make sure that that works out. It's rewarding as the mentor and the mentee. So you want to help set that up from the initial start.
I just quickly want to share two things. So one of my mentees started out with hating me. I mean, hate with a capital hate, H-A-T-E, hate, okay? But part of the issue was that she never had a woman who was welcoming to her in a healthy, non-threatening way. Didn't have, loves her mother dearly, but just did not have that relationship with a woman who just honestly loved her. So what it taught me was the importance of me being vulnerable and me being humble, because there were quite a few almost cuss me out moments that we had. And then all of a sudden, she recognized that it was love and not me looking down at her. And now she looks at me as a mom. And we used to meet all the time. Now we meet from time to time, but she has done incredible work. And I am beyond proud of her and beyond proud of our relationship. The other thing is I run a couple of women's programs. And one of the things that I have come to find, and Maria definitely alluded to this, is that not everybody is ready for the work that they say they're ready for. And so they drop out. I had a women's program, 19 strong, 19 signed up for it. No more than 7 ever showed up, right? 5 ended up graduating. The 6th person just left with, I think, 2 weeks left to the program. So it's humbling because you know you have something to give, but sometimes people aren't ready. They think they are, but then when they come into the space, they find out I wasn't ready to get rid of this, whatever, this obstacle, this hurdle that is keeping me from the success that I could have. And so as the mentor, you really kind of have to be prepared for that because it does happen.
Deb, can you share on how you created a really good mentorship relationship with someone in your organization?
So let me think. I'll go back in my career really. This individual, it's a man though. It's not. I mean, I mentor men and women. So it's. But this young man that I knew from my days in New York City healthcare, that was really struggling to find his way in what he wanted to do. But he had so much energy and he just wanted to do something, but he just really couldn't figure out his voice or how to find his way. And so he kind of came to me and said, can you help me? And at that point in time, I don't really think we called it mentoring. It was, we just knew that there was a relationship that we were building and he needed my help and insight in how to continue to grow his career. And I was in a position that I was able to give him a position to help him. That's not always typical in a mentorship relationship. And from that point, he took that job and I mentored him through growing into that space. And that was a good, 20 years ago, and I'm still very much in contact with him. And every step of his career growth, he calls me and says, "Oh, I just got talked to a recruiter. They're looking to give me, I'm being considered for this position. What do you think?" And we talk it through about what he perceives his weaknesses and strengths to be. And, he's just become a real superstar in the field. And, I'm always so proud of him, and because I know where he started and he was lost and confused. But he was able to look at himself, like some of the stories you're talking about, like people can't see themselves and they find it too hard to really advance in that sphere. And then they have to sometimes just come back. And that's part of the journey. And I remember that he was like that in the beginning, really lost and confused and not sure where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do. And I kind of helped guide him, because I'm like, look, you have these great skills. You're analytical. You have good people skills. You're perfect for this type of role. You have to learn the product, but you have all of the background, all of the characteristics to be able to succeed. So I think that's been a really wonderful relationship. And me personally, it was probably somebody that I worked with, and he was the president of the hospital. I worked under him, and he really gave me a lot. Again, it wasn't a formal mentorship. It was more like just informally learning and growing from him. And I've stayed in contact with him for many, many years. And he just gave me so many insights. And he saw, like you said before, like things that you didn't even know about yourself. And he would be like, you can do this. You have no idea how you can, talk to people and engage people. And so he was always giving me ways to continue to further myself and grow myself and bring out my best self.
Go ahead.
I do want to add, you brought up so many points, and one of them is, right, I know it takes a lot of courage for you to ask for that mentorship, right? But one of the most valuable things of that mentorship is that your mentor will help you grow. And I mean both mentally and from your career, and your career as well, right? They're going to be able to basically help you get out of your own head. There's so many of us, especially women, that convince ourselves, I don't have all of those job requirements they're looking for on that, job description. Like I have like 8 out of the 9, so I can't apply for that job, right? Seriously, y'all, it happens all the time.
Who's done that?
Come on now. But again, right, that is a mentor. They will help you. They're there to coach you. They might ask you to read. They might ask you to come in with some kind of assignment or work on this, but that's because we want to make sure that the investment you're making with us is fruitful for you.
Absolutely. So most mentors are not paid to do this. There's some that are assigned by HR, and that's usually proactive. Like you have gone somewhere and just cut the fool, and somebody said, you need a mentor. That last Christmas party, you need a mentor. But most of the time, it's going to be yourselves. It's going to be you empowering yourself to say, I want to grow. I want to stretch. I'm ready for some real feedback. Some of you have had that 3, 3, 3, or, if you have your ratings between 1 and 5 and you're getting 3, 3, 3, and no one's really telling you anything, that's the time that you might want to reach out for a mentor to really tell you what's missing. What is it you're not doing? Because maybe your boss can't articulate it, but a good mentor can, because they care and they're usually not getting paid to do it. So they're all in it for you. So mentorship really is the gift you give yourself. To seek it out, to stick with it, even when they feel like they want to hang up, even when you don't follow instructions. It's the gift you give yourself. So we've got a few more minutes, but I want to give each of you a chance to share some final thoughts and nuggets on this, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A a little early because I know there's a lot of questions.
So there is something I want to share with both the men and the women, but data shows it's mainly women, right? please remember when you ask for a mentor or mentee that that's going to be you paying it forward in 5-10 years. The one thing I want to share with all of you is we are hard on ourselves, but we also throw mad shade on ourselves. Please stop. We have proven that we could be anything we want to be, but we are so much stronger when we unite as one.
I wanted to really piggyback on what you just said. If you're about the, I guess when you have your review, right, and it's 3-3-3-3-3, the mentor, especially to your point, when they're not your boss, the mentor will be able to say, this is because of these things. But the mentor will also be able to say, this is a signal that this organization no longer wants to invest in you. And you might need to find another place that really sees your value. And because the mentor is not paid and is not your supervisor that's giving you that 3-3-3, they have a different perspective. And I think that's the beauty of the mentor being, even if they're in the same organization, maybe not in the same section, and being able to really give you that truth that says either A, you need to do this, you're not getting enough involved in this, you're not doing these things, or you're doing A through Z and then A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, and they're still not promoting you. Let's work on an exit strategy. And I think that that's the beauty of the mentor being attached to you and not necessarily the organization or the same place in the organization that you sit.
So last kernels, just some insight. If you're considering starting your own mentorship program, and we talked here a lot about, personal choosing of mentors and those relationships. Mentorship programs are as unique as your organizations, and you really need to know, the context by which you want to open. We started a mentorship program a couple of years ago at my hospital, de novo. We didn't have a mentorship program, and I didn't just pick people from the executive C-suite team to be the mentors, because that's also a very common mistake. You think that the highest ranking people are the best mentors. We really went across and looked at different directors that had different skill sets and different leadership skills that can help mentor others within the organization. And we're in our second cycle now. We've gone through about 20 mentor-mentee pairs that have gone through the program. And we continue to learn every single day on what makes it the best program possible. And sometimes the people that are in the program will come forward, or people will, now they start to hear about it, and they're like, we want to be in the mentorship program, and I would like to be mentored by so-and-so. They pick their own mentors for different reasons, like we talked about before, because of skill sets and uniqueness. So I would just, give you that, those words of advice. If you are starting your mentorship program, it really is unique. There is no one way to set it up. I think if there's things that might be helpful, sometimes the relationships take a little time to get going. So sometimes having a project that the pair can cling on to is helpful to make a more successful journey. So there's a few things that would be helpful when you start to think about creating your own mentorship program.
Absolutely. Before we break into Q&A, I just want to touch on one more topic, and that's, how do you end a mentorship? How do you know that it's had its season? Because in different stages of your career or your life, you've sought out a mentor. Maybe it's starting to wane, maybe there's some differences, maybe there's something new that you need. How do you kind of transition out of a mentorship?
Believe it or not, I can't answer that because I still have my mentors.
Well, I would say perhaps being clear on why you're mentoring that person, right? What did they want to achieve as a result of being mentored by you? And it does not necessarily mean that the relationship ends, but the formality of, giving you homework, meeting with you on a regular basis, all of those things that you did at one point, now you find you as the mentor see, they don't call me as much. They don't email me as much. The 5 things that we said we were going to do together, well, we've actually done 7. Right? And it doesn't mean, and it's got to be conversational, and you really, there needs to be an exit or a transition interview, right? And that could be just going to get some coffee or tea and saying, you know what, I see you've done all of these things. I'm so excited for you. We've done so well. How do you feel about it? And allowing the conversation to go, and it's like, I'm not, because sometimes you're trying to kick me out. I'm not trying to kick you out. How can I kick you out? You have my number, you have my email. I can't kick you out. Right. But what I can say is that either we need to create some new goals, or we can still have relationship, but what we set out to do, we've done, and let's celebrate that. But let's not belabor the point when we've had success, right? We've had tremendous success. Let's celebrate it. Let's have the closure of it, and continue the relationship, but it's just in a different way at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the relationships are forever. It just takes a different texture. And, if you're in a formal program, there's a beginning and an end and a graduation and a celebration, but the relationship continues, forever, I think.
Yeah, I think we just don't call them the mentor anymore. You're not in that meeting constantly, but there's still a relationship. The best transition I ever had was when someone said, I've helped you as much as I can. I think you need this person. And they made that connection to that person for me, and had lunch with me and that person and said, I've had her for so long, I'd like for you to mentor her now. And it was the most beautiful thing. It was like, that was a bigger gift when they said that to me, because and they helped the other person understand the best way to meet with me and communicate and all that. They kind of made it a smooth transition to my new mentor, if you will. So there's not a lifelong mentoring, maybe it's just a mentoring relationship for a season. Maybe there's new mentors you need because there's new skill sets that person doesn't have. But it's up to us to continue to create mentorship relationships that are of value to us, and to curtail or scale back some that have had their season. It's okay, but you still have the relationships, and that's still a good reference, and that's still a good person to write you a letter or to help you with credit or anything else you need. You never know when they're going to come in to play at something that you need in life. So
I just want to add really fast, remember that they also become your sounding board. Sometimes we need that. Okay, so again, I don't meet with the mentors I've had for a very long time, every month, every week, sometimes, but I still use them as my sounding boards, and that's important. Either that or I text myself nonstop.
which is beautiful. I mean, and just because you're a mentee doesn't mean your mentor might not reach out to you and need your advice one day, or need your insight or your feedback, because it's been such a trust that's been building over time. They know that when they have that conversation with you, it's going to go no further. So you never know. So, have we covered most of the nuggets, ladies?
I think so.
Our goal was really to help plant seeds, equip you with wisdom and information so that you can go out and create your own. This is the gift you give yourself. And I encourage you to take some time, write some things down that you're looking for. I believe in the power of writing things down. I'm a woman of faith, so if you write the vision and make it plain, but you write it down and you make something of the goal that you can literally see and keep in front of you every day, and then you'll start to see people that kind of connect with that. Oh, I noticed that so-and-so is an excellent speaker. I'm trying to work on my public speaking skills. Maybe I'll have lunch with her and see how that goes. So we hope that we've empowered you, and now we're going to open it up with questions and answers. You can come forward to each of these microphones if you would, please. State your name and your organization and your question. If the next person after her can make their way up to a seat up front, that'd be great, and we'll just keep going.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monique Gale. I'm with United Airlines. My question for you ladies is, we currently have a mentorship program at United Airlines. It's more geared to management and administrative employees only. My fellow colleague in the room would like to start a mentorship program or some type of learning and development program for frontline employees. So what I'm asking is, what would be the difference in having a management mentorship program and a frontline employee mentorship program? What are some suggestions or recommendations for that?
You
Thank
saw I
you.
had my mic, right? I was
Yes.
ready. I'm ready to jump out my seat. An employee resource group, a business resource group. We have, in the organization I'm with, we have 7 business resource groups. One of them is a women's business resource group that is inclusive to all, right? But it's called SWAG, Supporting Women in Advancement and Growth. We have, like I said, 6 others, right? But it is an opportunity for you to leverage professional development, cultural awareness. It's one of the best things you can create for your organization. And you don't need management. You need buy-in, like getting an executive sponsor. I could talk to you for hours about it. So how about I just give you my card after my colleagues, my friends speak to you. I'll give you my card and I'll help you through that journey. Okay?
Awesome.
You're welcome. Stop talking, Pam. Stop talking.
All right. So the reason we're asking you for your name and organization is because we still want to make connections through this event. So this is helping everybody see who you are and your questions, and you never know who has the same thing and might want to brainstorm with you after. Please.
Hi. First and foremost, thank you, ladies. This has been so insightful, and I really appreciate the time. My name is Amber Rodriguez. I'm with Bank of America. My question for you all is actually a little bit personal. I would love to know your individual lessons that you have learned as you stepped into a mentor role, and how has that lesson helped you become a better mentor, the mentor that you are today?
I will say honestly, and I say this as I love to talk. Like I enjoy talking. It's like fun for me. Be humble, say less, listen more. You don't know what to give a person if you are formulating an answer to what they're saying in their head, in your head, and not really listening to assist, but listening to spar. It's not, again, I love to talk, but as a mentor, I'm here to help. And so I think that's big. That's humility, listen, say less, and respond to what they're asking, not to what you think they're saying.
Yeah, I would also say courage. You know, sometimes when you're a mentor and you realize that you're helping another individual on their journey and find their best self, you kind of have to think about your own self and you know, be courageous about how you're going to give people advice and how you're going to guide people on their journey. I feel a tremendous sense of responsibility. And the other thing would be patience. You know, really, as people, especially mentees, go through journeys and you're learning together, it takes time, it takes energy, and it takes patience to kind of help get that relationship off the ground and moving in the right direction to achieve the things that both sides want to achieve.
I will tell you that I love the words patience. I love the word listen to hear and listen to understand, right? I'm not going to always agree, but you know, I raised 5 children by myself, right? So that was a rough lesson for me, okay? Because, you know, I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole different panel, but
That's next year's stuff.
but that really is what I learned. Listen to hear and listen to understand.
That's good. I will say that the best lesson I learned was from my mentors telling me there's more for you than against you. You go into a room and you think that, oh gosh, you know, this is going to be, there's more for you than against you. and do your pre-work before you have the question or the meeting. Like if you just individually meet with these folks and tell them about what your idea is, when you get to the meeting, you have an easier yes than telling them for the first time and then having them make a decision on the spot. So there's more for you than against you. Learn some strategies to come to the table to get an easy yes than try to get people to debate or talk through all the issues on the fly at a meeting. So that was one of the things. And then lead with your strengths. Always lead with your strengths. Don't worry about what your weaknesses are. Lead with your strengths, because it's your strength that's going to help take the organization where they need to be. And if you see yourself as a valuable asset in the organization, I had one person say there should never be a meeting that you go to, Zarida, that you're not speaking up and sharing something in that meeting. Even if I send you in for myself, you have something to add. I was empowered after that point. I was like, all right, I'm here for Peter Trost. And we think this and this and this and this. But it gave me the opportunity as a young person in a corporate organization, the empowerment to say that I'm sending you there not to be a scribe to take notes, but I'm sending you there to participate. So make my job easier in promoting you and speaking up for you when it's time for raises or join new project teams, because people have heard your voice. So that was some of the best advice I got.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. My name is Ebony Young, and I'm with United Airlines. This is my second career. So I've had a career in government and lobbied and everything, retired social work. So I'm pivoting. So my current role as a hub ambassador and as a flight attendant, my friends were like, just go have fun. And I am enjoying, having fun and traveling the world and doing a lot of cool things for United. But how did you know when you were pivoting which moves to make in taking a new career path? Everyone says, okay, you're settling at this position, you need to go because of all of your skill sets. But I'm really asking like a deeper personal thing. When you were in transition, how did you pivot from different careers or to elevate into a new career where it had a more demanding responsibility for yourself?
Well, I grew my career, so I'm a little not quite the exact answer that you might be looking for, but because I've been in healthcare my entire life, but I started my career as a phlebotomist. So from a phlebotomist, frontline person drawing blood in early morning, through the lab, I became a lab technologist. I got into infection prevention. Eventually knew that I wanted to continue my career, got my master's degree, got into service line leadership, and each time was a pivot, but it was still within healthcare. And for me, it was, I just knew when it was the time. I just knew what excited me, what made me excited to make that pivot, that change, that move, especially being from a clinical background, going into administration, and that was terrifying, but I knew that I wanted to do it. I felt the excitement and knew that I wanted to do it. And then that's when you find mentors and people that can, help coach you and guide your career and in some cases sponsor you even to say, listen, Deb would be a great person in this role and I'm recommending her for it. So for me, it was really just how I felt inside when I knew it was that time to make that change and what excited me and drew me to make that pivot.
Okay.
I have always loved what I do, what I've done and what I do. I guess you could say I lead with my heart, right? So it didn't matter what position I was in, I wanted to do more. That is actually how I ended up in the career, changing career. I loved what I did prior to this role. But being in the organization and having such a direct pulse and link to our employees, when this role came up, I really I have to be honest, I only struggled with the fact, how am I going to have enough time to save the world, right? That's always been me. So there was never a question. It wasn't like I got nervous, I was scared, I felt I had to go over all these hurdles. But I will say that those mentors and those sponsors I've had along the way they were the ones actually calling me saying, you have to apply for this job. This job is perfect for you, right? So for me, it's just, I've been blessed.
Okay, so mine is quite different. I have always been entrepreneurial, always. I was a 5-year-old sitting on my grandmother's floor, and it came to me that I was going to have a business, and that business was going to help people. So I've known that since I was 5. Now, the road has definitely been meandering, but I'm here at this point, many decades later. The last position that I was in, I was toying with the idea of maybe it's time for me to go. Maybe it's time for me to set out and, and really put myself into this business. And you all see it says minister here, right? So I'm about to go to the Bible. So there is a story of a woman, 2 women actually, but the focus is on Hannah. And Hannah had this rival named Peninnah. And Hannah could not get pregnant. And every time there was an opportunity for there to be a baby in Peninnah's womb, there was a baby in Peninnah's womb. And this was at a time where womanhood, well, I won't get into it, I promise I'm not. Pam, step away from what you're about to say. This was a time when women really had to have babies, right? That was the workforce, that was the, if you didn't have a son, nobody was going to take care of you as a woman that was older. So it was really kind of messed up. But Peninnah just kept on just rubbing her belly in front of Hannah's face. That for me came in the form of harassment. Everybody in the office knew that I was being harassed by this person, and no one stood up for me. No one. And it was depressing. It was caused a lot of anxiety. It was a lot. But what I came to recognize was this was my time to double down and pray and say, is this the time? And to get that yes. And I got the yes, and I left. And with every challenging moment, because that yes was the right yes, didn't matter that things were tough. Didn't matter that I needed things. Didn't matter. I knew that I was in my space. I'm doing the work that I love. And the pivot became super easy because I had a yes from God, and I was in the right place. And Peninnah is over there doing her thing. But like Hannah, I have my entrepreneurial baby.
That's awesome. Thank you. I will just close with when it no longer fills your cup, when it's no longer like I have the privilege of working, but it doesn't feel like work. I know we think that's a cliche, like nobody has jobs like that. I have a job like that. They ask me to do things. I'm like, you really gonna ask me to do that? I get paid for it? I was like, sure, I'll do it. I mean, because encouraging someone who's in a crisis just fills my cup. Like, so anytime I get to interact with our young people experiencing homelessness, encourage them to take another step, to try it again, to pick themselves back up because they took their driver's exam and they failed. That was the 7th time. You can get it the next time. Come on, we're gonna do this. But just encouraging them, that fills my cup. So every time I walk into any location, I'm like, here I am. This is it. Who can I talk to? Who can I connect with? Who can I just encourage? Maybe it's a staff person. They just broke up their 9th fight for the day. I'm like, you know what? I know it's tough. How can I help you? What can I get for you? Can I get you some lunch? Can I do something? Because that fills my cup every day. So sometimes the pivot is where you know where you are. It's beyond your season. You're almost like the caterpillar who, it's done. Like you got to leave. You're not a caterpillar anymore. You're a butterfly. And when you see that, and when people are telling you, you just don't belong here with us anymore because you're constantly doing other things. Your lunch break takes 2 hours instead of 1 hour because you're off at another division checking out something, or you're looking at something, or something else is starting to attract you. That's when okay, I've outgrown my season here. And do yourself a favor and do your team a favor and start finding what that is. Because nobody wants the person that comes in that's a distraction or the sourpuss. So do yourself that. But that's where a good mentorship relationship comes in, where you get to talk through some of your strengths and see what else is out there. And you never know what's on the horizon that's coming that you could be the perfect match for. So there might be an opportunity to leave the organization, but there might be something incubating in your organization that you may not be aware of, but maybe it's a new thing, a new something. And you'd be the perfect person for that project, that new division, that maybe it's something, a small little organization that's happening. There's so many different ways organizations kind of start things as entrepreneurial within themselves, so you never know. I mean, I see you got your United Blue on. So you are committed to United, because only United people buy blue outfits. I have a good. So you never know what could be coming up on the horizon for United that you can raise your hat on to say that you want to do it. So you never know, but having a good mentorship either inside your organization or outside would help you see that. You're welcome. We've got time for one or two more. Does any one? Oh, five. Okay. So one more.
Thank you all so much. My name is Sarah. I am from HFA. We're CPAs. Is there a? I gotta go quick. Is there a minimum if you're considering a mentorship program inside your business? Is there a minimum size of your firm that you really need to have so that you know there's going to be enough connection, but also confidentiality and whatnot? Okay, great. So the answer is no. And if you were doing this, are there any external resources you guys could point us to as far as training and development of those who are willing to set out on on the journey of being a mentor?
I can give you my card and I can share some with you that can coach and so on and so forth. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the mic. I'll give you my business card when we're done, and I'll point you in the right direction.
But there are some. Go ahead.
YouTube University. I would say two people that I'm really circulating around right now are Jenny Clark and Simon Sinek. I think they are amazing, and it's free, and it's kind of like everybody can look at it and then come together and have a conversation about what they saw and heard, on those videos.
If you have LinkedIn, that's an
that's what I call
resource.
YouTube
LinkedIn
University.
Learning. Awesome.
YouTube. I was gonna say Simon Sinek, Quint Studer, Dutch Mentor. If you go on LinkedIn, Dutch Mentor has a lot of really good material out there.
And so the beauty is what we learned in COVID is they don't have to be within the organization. I mean, we learned how to do things from home. There's Zoom. There can be, East Coast, West Coast. So you can have a mentoring relationship that you structure in your organization using an outside vendor, consultants, or internally with associates, and they can be as diverse as you like them to be. Okay. Well, we are 2 minutes under. Anybody have that burning question they'd like to? Bernie.
My name is Ida Biriteri. I'm a visual artist, a painter, and I belong to several nonprofit organizations with artists of all ages. Many of them are retirees or young artists with young kids. And it's occurred to me, and I'm so happy that I came and listened to you all, because it's occurred to me that there's a need in those organizations for more seasoned artists to mentor newcomers or people who may be of all ages who need to have some kind of knowledge from someone who's experienced, who could kind of show them how to get over obstacles, basic obstacles like, it's okay to be an artist. It's a real career. things like that emotionally. And then other steps like how do you find avenues to exhibit or learn more, exhibit your work or learn how to develop your work. There's so much to it. So you've inspired me to go back to some of my one nonprofit organization in particular that I belong to ask them, can we create a mentoring program here for everybody who's coming in and doesn't know where this is going to take them? So I want to thank you.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you all.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
real fast. Humility and have the conversation of the elephant in the room, which is younger people feeling like older people never want them to do anything different and that older people don't know anything. So have that conversation, and then I think you can probably move forward and do something great.
That sounds amazing. Thank you. Well, so now we'll take a poll to see how we did. Did anybody get any nugget of wisdom and insight to go back and create their own women's mentorship program? Did anybody raise your hand? All right. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.